Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Topic for today's Facebook Live is right here, the skills of entrepreneurship. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, don't you love being an entrepreneur? Kelly, good to see you this afternoon. Good to see all of you here this afternoon. Yes, I understand, Bob. The video is freezing, but that's what being an entrepreneur is. It's adapting and adjusting to the situation at hand, doing my best to be my best with the tools I have to operate in. So I'm going to go over this right here. Now, here's the handwritten version of this, the skills of an entrepreneur. Skill number one is free enterprise. Understand free enterprise. In free enterprise, you can create and or attract what the free market will bear. The only limitations that are only limitations there are the limitations you put on yourself by the power of your words and the power of your feelings. So in word is law, that's why it's important that you don't talk yourself out of attracting great people. If you say there's no great employees out there, there's no great producers out there, if you talk yourself out of it by your own word as your law, then you will suffer the consequences and continue to live in disappointment. And that would be the leading edge of the ego that most people hold on to, of frustration, disappointment, which is also called the payoff. But if you can access your power, and that's courage, you access courage so that you can be and stay in a relaxed body. To be productive as an entrepreneur in free enterprise, it's going to require you to attract organic leads that come to you, not the leads that you go out and purchase or the leads that you buy through a sales funnel. You want to be able to attract leads that come to you through your own branding, marketing, your service, your value, and then the power of the spoken word, a referral. Right here on my desk is a man, I'll block out his last name, but a multi-millionaire client of mine just referred him to me, and my client is in Colombia. He's an American. His name is Alex, and he crushes it. He owns multiple businesses. He's in his mid-30s, and he's a seven-figure income earner. I've known Alex since 2013. Alex came to one of my events in Southern California. He's from LA. He brought 9 people to one of my events in Temecula, California, which is the Inland Empire. It's between San Diego and LA, out near Palm Springs. I did an event out there when he was in his early 20s. Now today in his 30s, he crushes business, owns multiple businesses, and just referred me a gentleman named Ezra that he is partying with today in the country of Colombia in Medellin. So I coached Alex today in Medellin on WhatsApp. And so Alex crushes it. He referred me a client. Another client of mine, Lisa, referred me a man named Neil, who I'm doing a call with this afternoon. And then another woman found me she looked up the word anger and was looking for products on anger, and found me on YouTube from a video I did multiple years ago. And that's what you want to have happen. That's called organic traffic. And that's traffic from task, service, well done, where business comes to you because of the man or woman you've been out in free enterprise. So early in my career, I used to teach my team the term enterprise, my enterprise. And we would sit in an office in Dallas, Texas in 1992 in Mastermind Alliance. And a mastermind is one of more of like mind coming together for common cause. And I was the oldest guy there. I was in my mid-30s, and I had 6 people that were under 25 that was the nucleus of my team back there. And we would say, my enterprise, my enterprise. And it takes inflection to be able to say the word enterprise. Practice it. Then to own it, put my in front of my enterprise. And so it creates a certain level of inflection. So you're in free enterprise, the free market. Now, for those of you who are following me, also go over to Instagram this afternoon and follow Josh Waxman. Josh does some of the best whiteboard presentations since I've seen myself on whiteboard. So Josh crushes whiteboard. Stephanie, good to see you this afternoon. Scott Lucas, good to see you. So follow Josh. He does a lot of good money talk on Instagram. Just go to his Instagram page, follow him, then scroll down his page, and he has multiple videos that he can teach you on insurance, wealth management, and money talk, specific skills for free enterprise. So today, go ahead and take that and take this pen, take a Sharpie. You should have a blue and black Sharpie. Take the cap off, take yourself a Post-it just like this. Simple Post-it and write free enterprise on it. Just write it out there, right there. Just do it like this. I'm going to do it as an exercise. Writing it out right there. Free enterprise. Here we go. So look, this is what it looks. That's what it looks like. Free enterprise. This is where you are today. Free enterprise. Notice the word free, freedom, enterprise, enterprising. It means that there are opportunities available to you. And that, Michael Cole, my brother, good to see you. Michael crushes his content. So in free enterprise, it means there are no limitations. You can create what the free market will bear in free enterprise. You can create 4-figure months, 5-figure months, 6-figure months in free enterprise in the free market. And one of the first areas you want to address is what hinders almost every entrepreneur, and it is right there: anxiety, fear, and doubt. Anxiety, fear, and doubt will be the thief of your dreams if you continue to hold on to your anxieties that overwhelm you. And so you want to be able to address doubt, and that's where most of the world lives, is in doubt. And doubt is that fine line of the ego. That's the 1/10 or 100th of a second between being encouraged or being in doubt. And so right there between that space is where the breath is. And that's why you take that breath neutralizes doubt, and you can step into your higher consciousness. You can access the courage to be in free enterprise. In free enterprise, you'll learn to neutralize these terms: put myself out there. Well, you're not going out anywhere. You're sitting at a desk and you're creating videos and you're creating content and you're writing and you're creating traffic. So what you're looking for are leads. You want to have more leads than time, because in free enterprise, you require eyes on your business. You require people looking at your products, services, benefits, and features. Just like from past years, a woman Googled the term anger, and she was looking for products on anger, and she found a YouTube video of mine, and now in 19 minutes, I'll be speaking to her at 1:30 California time. And that's from task well done. That's from previous efforts. And I just contacted another former client of mine who does tech. He specializes in text message marketing, and his name is Gary Rieger, Regeir, and he owns his own agency in Los Angeles, and he specializes in text message marketing. He once gave me an opportunity to show me his services. He wanted to earn my business. So he did a free campaign for me of the text message phone numbers I had. So he ran a campaign. One lead came out of that, and I closed that sale for $5,000 in 2019. Then I hired him, and he was my vendor for 2 years. I'm going to re-engage him. So once again, you can either pay for place-to-play traffic. The best traffic you'll create will be organic. That's from referrals, task well done, and then your own free branding that you can create on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, Telegram, and a multitude of places. And then in your own local market, you can advertise in places like Facebook, but that's not really what I recommend right now. You can boost posts. That you might be able to create some traffic there. I just boosted a post for $28, didn't see a lot happen, but I had very little to lose. But what's important is that you become comfortable in free enterprise, and you start to have a vision of the outcome you seek to create in free enterprise as an entrepreneur. It means that you are it means start with self-esteem, that I am my own esteem, I am good enough. And then in self-esteem, you are self-employed, and you are actually the CEO of your own corporation. So I own a California S corporation. I've owned that corporation for 26 plus years. I have a payroll. I have 2 employees. I have insurance. I pay quarterly tax. I own 2 properties outright. I pay property tax. I pay insurance. I have multiple insurance products, investment insurance products, and then products that will also protect my assets. And this is all part of being an entrepreneur in free enterprise. I grew up in a town about this big, 7,500 people, Clarinda, Iowa. It's in southwest Iowa, right below Omaha, Nebraska. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial environment. I used to work for my neighbor who was a multimillionaire farmer. My grandfather was a multimillionaire farmer owning 3,000 acres. If you want to look that up, look up what 3,000 acres equals. Well, that farmland in today's world goes for 15 to 20,000 an acre. Now multiply that times 3,000, and that will tell you what that property would be worth in today's landscape. That's Monsanto type situation. That's Bill Gates. That's what they buy up. They try to buy up those farms from farmers who live in free enterprise in that area of the country. So that's also Black Angus country, tall corn country. So I grew up baling hay, walking corn, shelling corn. My grandfather owned a franchise, store more bins. I learned how to pour concrete, use a jackhammer. I learned contracting skills. I learned real estate skills. As a very young man, as a teenager, I saved money, bought my first car, bought my first motorcycle, and paid for all of my own college through a basketball scholarship. And then I also waited tables, bus tables, bartended, and was very industrial in my early 20s, knowing I was never going to have a job because I was going to be an entrepreneur in free enterprise. Dr. Kelly, good to see you. Kelly, looking forward to when I can refer business to you in functional medicine, you and Dr. Jeff, and I know that is right around the corner. John Hendrickson, good to see you. Danielle, good to see you. Who else did I see? I saw Michael Cole. Stephanie, good to see you. I saw Danielle Barbarossa. I saw, who else? I saw some quality people here. Good to see all of you here this afternoon. Kelly, it's so good to see you. I'm an entrepreneur in free enterprise. It's a situation that you begin to accept, you buy into, and that you start to feel those feelings of being an entrepreneur in free enterprise. And that means you're able to create a realistic plan for yourself, a one-day plan that you can follow through back to back, 5 days, 7 days, 4 days, whatever that is, but it's structured time. It's a dedicated block of time to creating the skills of free enterprise right here. Write it on a Post-it, free enterprise. I am an entrepreneur in free enterprise. I have the ability to attract and create what the free market will bear. I coach multiple clients who come from meager to very addictive households, who grew up with alcoholic parents, who grew up with narcissistic parents, who have overcome the odds and have become highly successful business owners. A business owner in free enterprise, an entrepreneur in free enterprise, an entrepreneur from the comfort of my home. I'm in my home office, if you can see right behind me. That is a bookcase. Those are pictures on the wall of my clients that I have coached over the years. A few of you have been in this office with me. I'm looking out at the front window. I live in near a college campus, University Pacific, 4 blocks from it. I own a 5,000 square foot house right here, and then 2 doors down from me, I own a 3,500 square foot home, and I own both of them outright. It wasn't that many years ago that right down that freeway, the California freeway, that would be I-5, and then around this neighborhood, I've lived in little tiny apartments. I've lived in one room. I've rented rooms with a bathroom. I rented a room in Washington, D.C. back in 1992 or 1993. I lived in Reston, Virginia. I lived in Dallas, Texas. I've lived in studios. I've lived in little tiny apartments in free enterprise while I was learning the skills, habits, and mindset of a business owner. My first breakthrough in free enterprise in sobriety recovery was with a signature network marketing company called Herbalife. That's where I first heard of the great Jim Rohn. And Larry Thompson was one of my uplines. And I got to meet Mark Hughes. And that was my first real business that I started to monetize. I had started with Amway in the 80s, but never really knew what to do with it. I was too overwhelmed and too much of a drug addict, alcoholic. But I was drinking the aloe juice, and I started listening to cassettes back in the day. In the 90s, I met Tom Big Al Schreider. He was significant in my career. I used to listen to his content, read his books. I went to his PMP workshop in Los Angeles, California in 1993. That was the first real big seminar I went to outside of Herbalife and other companies that I was in. Then I was in TPN, the People's Network, with Jeff Olson, Eric Worre, and Darren Hardy was the master distributor of that company. And I was in all three of those men's downline in 1994. I went through a lot of failed ventures, ended up $100,000 in credit card debt after multiple failed ventures, and $50,000 in credit card debt in a company that I invested in to be an equity owner, where I was going to get dividends, quarterly dividends. Well, the company went out of business before I got any dividends, and I lost 50 grand in that venture. And I spiraled out of control for over a year, and I didn't make any money for 12 months, and just barely got by on savings, sold off assets, little assets I had, sold off CDs, waited tables, and barely got by because I refused to get a real job. And so those were the challenging years for me, 1994, 1995, and 1996. That was the acronym NFL, No Funds Left, and it was in three categories: no funds left, no friends left, and not for long. And 1996 was the not for long year, because if something didn't happen or I didn't create something, I might have to get a real job. And I was faced with that adversity, and I answered a little ad in the USA Today in 1996, December of 1996, as I was crossing the $100,000 credit card threshold of liability debt with zero assets. And so that was it, zero assets. And so, and I was I don't want to say back against the wall, rock bottom, make it, break it, but I definitely had a sense of urgency. And that was a really unique opportunity that I found. And that was my breakthrough year, 1996, 1997. I crossed the bridge in free enterprise. The people I met in 1997 and 1998, I met a lot of conspiracy realists. I met G. Edward Griffin, who wrote the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. I see his content all over the place now. I see a lot of G. Edward Griffin's content on Instagram as old black and whites from back in the day. I saw him yesterday. I used to listen to an old VHS back then called The Money Masters. I see clips from that as well. That content covers the history of the Federal Reserve, the banking cabal, a lot of the history of 1900 to the stock market crash, of the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and how all of that happened. The Titanic is fascinating content that really lets you understand the banking cabal. And it's important that you do understand the banking industry, the insurance industry, how money is created in free enterprise, so you can create your fair share in free enterprise from the comfort of your home, building your business ventures. So I like words like ventures, business ventures, free enterprise, entrepreneurship, and comfort of my home. And there's inflection you put in it. There's feeling you put into it. And so your prospects can feel that you're coming from purpose. You're able to deliver from value and service rather than desperation, or you're destitute, or you're in poverty consciousness, or you're transmuting lack. You want to be able to transmute love, joy, bliss, and service, and value, and purpose. And as these emanations, that you're emanating these feelings, then you are not the mind-body connection to the events that would shape your feelings. And in delivering results, because that's what you're looking for, you're creating results through service and value, products that you feel comfortable in. And so if you're a coach, you're selling yourself. Influencer, you're selling yourself. I mean, and no matter what you're selling, you have to be in that equation. Now, if you're uncomfortable with that, that's very common, but that's one of the let go processes, is that you let go of your own anxiety about putting yourself out there, your own anxiety about, oh my God, what are someone going to think about you? Well, you let go of that. And what you focus on in self is becoming your best self. That means back-to-back days of sobriety, no cheat days, no relapses, no anxiety about the outcome that doesn't happen, having the courage to build a business from the comfort of your home, a low overhead business with high income potential. I mean, that's the ultimate situation. Create a way, find a way, attract a way where you can create prosperity from the comfort of your home, from a corner of your room, from a desk, from your kitchen table, from wherever, but you want to be able to practice the simple discipline of being an entrepreneur, dedicated blocks of time, 90-day game plan, a vision of the outcome you seek to create, the life you're going to live. If you're not living it yet, you have a vision of it, and then one day at a time, you begin the manifestation of that dream, the creativity, the innovation, and you start to have the feel of that, and there's an energy that emanates when you're in that flow, as you're flowing down the river, the banks of a river. So money is prosperity, and that means prospero, in the flow, and there's plenty of banks on the bank of the river, and as you start to understand, that's Jordan Maxwell, by the way, content. And if you haven't followed Jordan Maxwell, Google him and go find some of his videos this afternoon. He breaks down maritime law and other great content that I highly, highly recommend. He has a book called one of his best books, it's right over there, it's called Matrix of Power. That's Jordan Maxwell. He is definitely an old school truther patriot that I highly recommend. His content was way ahead of its time in the 80s and 90s. I've been following for years. Jeffery, president and founder of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. I believe I just saw Diane Hughes Hunt. Diane, so awesome to connect with you at Millionaire Blueprint. Have an outstanding afternoon. Breathe, release, and let go.